Smash Your Fears, Live Your Dreams by John Webb. Chapter 7. Slaying the Dragon of Self-Doubt. Can you imagine living a life with no limits? What could you achieve if you had so much confidence in yourself and your abilities that you knew that whatever goal you went for, you could actually achieve it? Now, for most people this is only a dream, but for high achievers, they know the real secret to health, wealth and happiness is having power over themselves. Now, every day we're all fighting a battle, and that battle is with the person that stares back at you in the mirror, ourselves. Every one of us has an inner voice that is telling us that we're not good enough, or that we are not ready to take action, or some other negative statement that paralyses us from doing what we need to do. The biggest enemy we will ever face is the inner voice that keeps more people living an average life, who then go to the grave without realising their potential. But this is not going to be you now. I'm going to now show you how to recognise this inner voice and not let it hold you back anymore. When I used to box competitively, the fight started weeks before I stepped in the ring. That fight was the battle in the mind where my inner voice was trying to convince me I wasn't fit enough, not good enough, not experienced enough, and this was a fight that I was going to get knocked out. When I got matched up against the 5 times ABA Eastern Counties champion, who had over 80 fights under his belt to my mere 12 fights, you can imagine the inner conversation in my head. So where does this voice come from? Well, negative self-talk begins in childhood and will be deep in your subconscious mind. If you were told continually as a child that you were stupid, then this statement will bury itself in your mind, and then when you attempt to go for something challenging, your inner voice will tell you there's no point in even trying, as I will fail, as I'm stupid. On the other hand, if you are always encouraged to try new things and told that you're brilliant, this is how you will think. Now let me share just a quick story with you. One day, as a small child, Thomas Edison came home from school and gave a paper to his mother. He said to her, "Mum, my teacher gave me this paper to me and told me only you can read this. What does it say?" Her eyes welled up with tears as she read the letter out loud to her child. "Your son is a genius. This school is too small for him and doesn't have good enough teachers to train him. Please teach him yourself." His mother did just that until she fell ill and passed away. Now, many years after Edison's mother died, he became one of the greatest inventors of the century. One day, he was going through some of her things and found the folded letter that his old teacher wrote his mother that day. He opened it up. The message written on the letter was, "Your son is mentally deficient. We cannot let him attend our school anymore. He is expelled." After reading that, Edison became emotional, very, very emotional, and then wrote in his diary, "Thomas A. Edison was a mentally deficient child whose mother turned him into the genius of the century." Now, regardless of your upbringing, you can't blame your parents or your teachers for what they did or didn't say. They did the best job they could with the knowledge they had at the time. So please don't let your past bad experiences dictate your future like so many people do. As I heard at a conference once from the Olympian Chris Akabusi, he says your past is for reference, not for residence. It's imperative that we get control of this inner voice that has held us back for such a long time. And in order to conquer it, the first step is to recognise it. As discussed earlier, its job is to keep you safe, but playing safe will not get you out of your comfort zone to stretch yourself to be the best you can be. There are many people out there that dream of having their own business or that dream job that they are passionate about, but still remain in their 9-to-5 jobs. This is mainly due to the inner voice telling them that going self-employed is risky. "I won't earn regular money," or "what if this business doesn't work?" They become consumed with fear and doubt, and most stay in their perceived safe job environment. I say perceived because years ago when you had a job it was for life, but this is just not the case anymore. People are being made redundant every day of the week and you have no control over this. The only security you have is within yourself, so my suggestion would be to build a business alongside your job so you've got that added security if things go wrong in the job world. Multiple streams of income is the best security. Did you know the average millionaire has 7 streams of income? It gives me nightmares to think where we would be if we hadn't taken the courage to start our network marketing business. If we'd listened to everybody that told us it wouldn't work, we would have missed out on over £40,000 worth of free 5-star holidays, a passive income, meaning we get paid even if we decide not to work, and also the time freedom and flexibility that has allowed both of us to bring our children up together. I've never missed a single day of my boys' lives, and to be honest, without the income from our network marketing business, I don't think we would have even considered becoming parents, as my wife Kath couldn't have afforded to have left her job in London. So next time you stop yourself from stepping out of your comfort zone and other people are trying to discourage you, think carefully about what you're sacrificing to stay safe. I can understand people's trepidation of moving from employed to self-employed, as when I took the step of leaving my job as a restaurant manager to becoming a full-time aerobics instructor and personal trainer, I too had fears and self-doubts. At that time I had 2 mortgages, one on my residence and a joint mortgage on my mum's house, so going from a regular wage to self-employed where my money would fluctuate was a little scary. The dialogue from my inner voice went something like this: how will you pay your mortgage if you don't get enough work? What happens if you injure yourself and can't work? You won't get paid. It's not worth the risk. Better the devil you know, my job. Just be happy and grateful for this job. With your qualifications, you're lucky to become a manager. And so it went on. So the big question is, how do you overcome this negative inner voice that holds most of us back from taking action? Well, I'm glad you asked. A simple technique that has worked for me is to counteract the negative statement with a positive one. So every time your inner voice makes a self-limiting statement, you come right back with a positive one. Here's an example. Imagine, like myself, you wanted to go from employed to self-employed. Your inner conversation might go something like this: My job income is secure, why risk it? That would be the negative self-talk. But the positive self-talk could be, the best security is working for yourself as you can't get made redundant. Negative self-talk: the job's not that bad really. Positive self-talk: I could earn more working for myself. Negative self-talk: you haven't got what it takes. Positive self-talk: if others can do it, then so can I. Negative self-talk: I feel really nervous about it. Positive self-talk: all successful people felt nervous, but they faced their fear and took action. Negative self-talk: I can't do it. Positive self-talk: I can do it. Negative self-talk: I haven't got time. Positive self-talk: I will make time. Do you recognise any similar conversations that maybe you've had with yourself in the past? Armed with your new knowledge, I want you to pay careful attention to your inner conversation, and when your negative self-talk starts, which it will, then use this positive counteracting method to overrule it. With any new career, you need to do your homework and research it before taking action, but don't let that inner voice stop you from any more, if deep down you know it's the right thing to do. This technique is very effective and becomes easier with practice, but be warned, you will still need to keep that negative self-talk under control. A question I often get asked is whether you can totally eliminate the negative voice, and from my experience the answer is no, as sometimes you will need that voice to keep you safe in moments of danger. It's important to evaluate whether you are in a real danger or whether it's just that self-limiting belief rearing its ugly head again. My inner voice was very nearly stopped me from writing this book. The idea for this book came in a moment of inspiration, and I started writing it every day. But after a few months, some fears and doubts started creeping in and stopped me from writing for almost a month. Imagine that, being too scared to write a book on fear. After learning that 95% of people who start writing a book never finish it and get it published, I vowed to not end up in that group. So by counteracting every negative thought with a positive one, I set a deadline to get it finished and committed to it. Negative thoughts flow very easily, but you must not believe them. You are good enough, you are worthy, and you do deserve to achieve your ambitions. So from this day onwards, manage your negative self-talk with the positive self-talk counteracting method and take that step towards your goals. Always remember, the most important person you will ever speak to is yourself. And if in doubt, just say yes. After teaching aerobics full-time for many years and earning a great living, I stumbled across a home-based network marketing business that showed fantastic incomes. but I was super sceptical. Due to working 7 days a week, my time was limited, but again this inner voice told me all the reasons why I shouldn't join this new business. But armed with my new philosophy, I said yes and got started. This proved to be the best decision I've ever made as my income doubled. After it was established, I had more time and the income was passive, which meant that it was paid every month even if I didn't work. So when in doubt, say yes. It could be the best decision you ever make. Be careful how you are talking to yourself because you are listening. A great quote by Lisa M. Hayes.